Friends, I am Joe, and for some weird and definitely not obvious reason, people have been calling me a Viking for years now. Yet let me tell you something, I'm actually not from one of the Nordic countries myself, and when it comes to Norway, for example, I haven't even been there. So in this video, I want to fix this mistake. From the notoriously high prices, the most expensive McDonald's I've ever had, to beautiful nature.
Oh my, this place is incredible.
I want to see it myself, and I ask you along on this journey to experience Norway for the first time through the eyes of a Viking. So shall we?
Okay, here's the thing. I know I might look scary and independent, but I actually don't like traveling alone that much. And that's why the first stop I'm gonna have to make is at the airport to find myself a girlfriend. Don't worry, I'm honestly picking up my own girlfriend from the airport. Well, in that case you may ask, why did I write girlfriend here, not her actual name? And honestly, there's probably like a 1% chance that she's not showing up. And since I really don't want to travel alone, I did this. Don't tell Liisu.
Like this, armed with a multifunctional girlfriend sign and a chocolate, I headed to the airport. I quickly tested the sign on some strangers. Yeah, I was way more uncomfortable than they. And after about 10 minutes of waiting, I saw a familiar face. Let's just say I was extremely happy to see that Liisu chose to join me on this journey, as even testing the sign was scary. And so our adventure began.
We're going on an adventure!
Oh yes! We drove into the night, arrived at our parking place when it was already dark. And honestly, we're quite excited to wake up the next morning. To see for the first time what coming months might look like for us.
Okay, this is just incredible.
I had forgotten how quiet it can be, and that if you stay in the middle of the forest, then there's most probably no people.
Total silence. What a beautiful place to be.
Joe, clothes!
We had about 30 minutes to enjoy the forest and lake we had parked our car at. And since it had rained through the night, the whole place smelled and felt calm and refreshing. What a way to start a new adventure, right? But sadly, we couldn't stay for long, as there was many things we wanted to find out about this country. And what better place to do it than the capital itself?
We have just made it to our first big stop in Norway, and it's probably the same as for everybody. So we're in the capital, Oslo now. First thing you notice is that people are doing so much exercise. Everybody's being healthy.
Most people were either running, walking, or riding bikes. And as it turns out, there was a good reason for it.
And from the infrastructure around the city, you can see that they're working towards making it as comfortable as possible for people to use bicycles, to go on foot. And it's nice because although it's a capital city, it's calm. All the highways are actually underground in tunnels. It feels very nice.
I must say that simply walking through the central part of Oslo left us quite impressed. It was clean, quiet, and full of art.
This is the sort of art I also understand.
Is it more like you or more like me? Or you identify with it, eh?
And of course, after spending 3 weeks in the Maldives just before coming here, it was quite a shock seeing what local Norwegians consider as a beach weather.
And just in the center there's a small beach and kids are actually swimming. I think it's not warm weather, but I guess it's just Nordic children.
It's the case of when your own culture shocks you.
But of course, seeing the city itself was not the only reason why we decided to start our Norwegian adventure from the capital.
One reason why we came to Oslo was to figure out if Norway actually is as expensive as they say. And the best way to find out is...
And after walking few minutes on the seaside full of boats, we were there.
Yeah, we know that McDonald's has nothing to do with Norwegian taste or cuisine, but it's something that every country has, and so we just want to go there and see actually how much does it cost to get a Big Mac in Norway. Very Nordic way to do things. There's 10 like self-serve checkouts, and I don't think you can even buy from the counter. Maybe you can, but it's very small. So you come here, no personal contact, you get what you need. Have you ever seen milk on McDonald's before? So Big Mac meal cost me 14 euros, which is the most expensive McDonald's I've ever had. I've tasted them in different airports, and I think so far the most expensive was like 12 euros in Oman International Airport, but now Norway has taken the lead. I think in the history of the world, no one has ever ordered a McDonald's meal with milk and apple slices.
Crunchy, tastes like apples. 10 out of 10 apples.
Next up, we headed to a small supermarket in the city. And well, you can decide for yourself how those prices compare with your country.
A liter of milk between 2 and 3 euros, depends on the level of fat.
So bread is 4 to 5 euros a loaf.
Bottle of Coke, 1.5 liters, is 3.5 euros.
So a beer is 3.5 euros.
I kind of thought that the Viking culture and raiding is not a thing anymore, but when I see the prices here, I'm not too sure anymore.
Yes, the prices here really were some of the highest I had ever seen.
Okay, the Viking joke might have been a bit inappropriate, because it's not the country's fault that they're well off, and locals can't afford those things. Just us from a poor country are not too excited about the food prices.
And I guess, as our little shopping tour proved, Norway really is just as notoriously expensive as they say. But as we continued our adventure through the streets of Oslo, we quickly discovered another, much more positive surprise.
It's pretty cool to see so many electric vehicles in Oslo. And you can feel it as well, because it's very quiet. Like, the car goes by, you barely hear it.
No, but the interesting thing is that they're not all Teslas. Before coming here, I would think that if you say electric vehicle, then you probably mean Tesla. But it's not the case. There's so many different car brands that do electric vehicles now.
Believe it or not, but by now, around 1/3 of all Oslo's cars are electric zero-emission vehicles. And last year, nearly 80% of all the new cars bought in Norway were electric.
We're just not used to seeing Tesla towing an old trailer.
Yet from government policies, for example, lower road tolls, you can see that they want to raise those numbers even more.
Pretty cool, just walking in a living block. You can see how much infra is already for electric vehicles as well. And readiness is everywhere. You can just plug your car in here. And the whole sides of apartment buildings are done like this. If you buy a parking spot in Oslo, you will also get the charger.
And if any of you is wondering, where does all that power come from to keep all of such electric vehicles running? Then shockingly, almost 100% of Norway's energy comes from renewable hydro and wind power plants. It was truly amazing to see how the transition to greener energy was taking place here. And I'll be honest, in a weird way, I even felt betrayed by my own and many other governments in the world. For years, I have heard how such transition is simply not possible. But now, seeing it with my own eyes for the first time, it just comes to show that it's not only possible, but it simply depends on the priorities and other government actions. Norway, from the bottom of my heart, I am impressed.
Alrighty, but now we have spent our first day in Oslo and it's clean, it's nice.
It has a bit of a work vibes that it would be really nice to work here.
But let's be honest, not many people come to Norway to see Oslo. And now we're gonna go and see the true beauty of this country.
We left Oslo as the sun was going down and once again found a nice parking place in nature. Without hesitation, I can say that such untouched nature is the main reason to visit this country for us.
To the lake, to the lake.
We quickly made our way down to the lake.
It's just great that you can come to nature. It looks like this. It's gorgeous. And you're here all alone. And there's thousands of places like this in Norway. Just amazing.
Of course, took advantage of the treasures that this forest offers in late summer.
Wild blueberries taste so much better than the store-bought. The ones in store, they're bigger, but they have so much less taste. It's sour, it's full of vitamins.
And soon, we're once again on a road, as our plan was also to hike one of the most popular trails in Norway. On our way there, we suddenly saw a structure, almost like taken out of a fairy tale.
Just saw a very beautiful building on the side of the road, and we'll go and have a quick look. So what's behind me here is called a Hedal wood church, and it's the largest one in Norway. Looks so freaking beautiful at first, but what makes it interesting is that it's built in a time when the conversion from paganism, Norse religion, was going on. So inside there's still symbols of Vikings and Vikings characteristics mixed together with Christian influence. That's pretty awesome.
So the ticket to the church is a little less than 10 euros per person.
Every last detail in this building was made of wood. High ceilings, ornaments.
That looks lovely. Never seen anything like it.
It smells incredibly nice in here. Just the smell of wood, tar. And it's so funny and interesting to see like dragon heads next to a statue of Christ.
Without joking, it is most likely the coolest church I have ever seen.
Just incredible to think that this has stood here for nearly 800 years. And it also shows that if you take care of wood well enough, it lasts a long time.
Tar. That's the protective layer is tar.
After the church, we had to drive for a few more hours to reach our final destination. But even the seemingly boring thing like driving can be quite fun in such unique and gorgeous landscapes. And having stops like this just on the side of the road makes it truly incredible. The following night, we spent in a random car park, but there was a reason for this as well.
It's a bit before 6 in the morning and we are going on an adventure.
Most probably a very rainy adventure. The weather forecast looks horrible. But we're going anyway.
Although we've seen a fair bit of Norway's nature from the car window, then it's just not the same to stop next to a road. And so today we're heading to one of the most famous hikes in the whole country. It's called Trolltunga, or in English, Troll's Tongue. And once we get there, it will become quite obvious why it has this weird name.
The bus arrived 3 minutes after 6 and cost about €9 per person one way. The ride took about 15 minutes, and once we arrived, the adventure began. I'm not gonna lie, the first part of the 27-kilometer hike was utterly unimpressive. Just a long 3.5-kilometer walk on a paved road.
As you can see, most people go up for the bus, but we decided to walk.
But as the bus ride up the hill would have cost us another €30 for the two of us, we decided to walk instead. Yet as the car road ended, the whole experience got much better. Suddenly, we were walking on bare rock, surrounded by what felt like a marsh or a wetland.
I'm not sure how this is possible. It would never happen in Estonia. Blueberries just next to the trail. Back home they would be eaten in the first day when they're ready. Maybe Norwegian people just don't like blueberries, eh?
And as you can probably see from our changing wardrobe, the weather here changes as quickly as politicians' promises after the election day. Around here, all 4 seasons can really be experienced in one day. But even in rain, the hike through such landscapes was unforgettable. The views on a fjord below, unique, and well, delicious plants that surrounded us.
I don't know if I've ever seen such a big and perfect cloudberry. Wow. Delicious.
After about 5 hours of hiking, we made it to the end goal.
Oh my, this place is incredible. And so, the reason why this place is called Troll's Tongue, as I said, it's simple. Legend says that there was once a really quirky and disbelieving troll, and he didn't believe that sun would turn him into stone. And so one day he was just sticking his tongue out at the sun, and what happened? This happened. He got turned into stone.
The line to take a picture on the Troll's Tongue was surprisingly long. We waited about 30 minutes.
They just got engaged.
And just before our turn, something unexpected happened.
Just had a bad confrontation with a park ranger. He was wearing a high-vis vest. Came to me very angry, said, "You can't fly a drone." Turns out he didn't know the drone laws. I had to teach him about the drone laws in Norway.
The man tried to tell me that in Norway you can only fly near people when you're 300 meters above them. Yet it is completely wrong. It did not even matter to him that our flight was registered beforehand and approved by Norwegian officials.
Probably it was his power play that he just had to force that I can't fly next to the tongue. So we don't have a shot of us on the tongue, but at least we got a few pictures.
It felt harsh, having walked hours for this and be left empty-handed. It felt like salt on our wounds to see him returning to us a few minutes later with some Google article written in Norwegian.
Hello there. Can we please have some privacy?
Can we please have some privacy now? You've already shown that you didn't know the laws and that you came onto our necks without knowing the laws first. And now you're trying to.
I'll show you.
You have
shown enough.
confirmation bias.
Can we please have some
But can we
privacy?
please have some privacy now?
You coming to me?
Sir, I came. I hope I got it on camera. How the park rangers he told me to fuck off. Wow.
Yet still, we tried to do our best to enjoy the amazing landscapes that surrounded us. And just as we were ready to give up, this happened.
I can't believe we found that place. After being in a line for half an hour, having troubles with the drone. We already thought that we can't get the shots that we wanted to, and then we don't get the beautiful pictures that we wanted to, but here it is, 200-300 meters away, not a single person here.
Another rock, just like Trolltunga, barely 300 meters away, and we made sure to enjoy every moment we had here.
And this place here is just such a good metaphor for life. When you're only focused on one thing and you want to get the picture on the tongue like the one that everybody else has, then you might miss that just around the corner is another opportunity. A place just as beautiful, a moment for us way more special because we were here alone. And yeah, on that bombshell, I think it's time to finish our first video. Thank you for joining us here in Norway, and I hope that you'll be back in a week because our adventures are far from over. Take care, friends.
Am I the bombshell that we're gonna finish with?
Bye!